Hi, 1, 2, 3, check.
Yeah, you're audible, Deer.
Okay, so are you.
Hello. Okay, let's give us some time. How many are we here? Good evening, everyone. It's a Friday. There's going to be a lot of fun and there's going to be a lot of learning today. My name is Dheer. I'm part of the student career success team at GreyCampus. I will introduce you to the instructor soon. I'm just waiting for more participants to join. Good evening, good afternoon. Somebody from France. Bon après-midi. I remember my French. Bonjour. All right, so before this turns into a French chat, how many of you actually know data science or have prior coding experience? Can we have a yes in chat? Okay, quite a few yeses. No's, no, not really. No, no, no. Quite a few of you saying no. And you do not have to worry because this is going to start from scratch. You do not have to know anything except maybe English and common sense to follow along with the instructor. So it's going to be plain dead simple and it's going to be really fun. Let's see, how many are we at right now? 59 participants. Let's wait a little bit more and give people time. It's Friday. A lot of you. So how many of you are actually working? Can we have a yes in chat if you're working? Like, are you people who are professionals who are working and getting out of work to attend this? No, no, yes, yes. Okay, looking for a switch. All right, data science is a good move if you're looking for a switch. There's going to be a lot of things, but the instructor is going to tell you what data science is about from the learning perspective. So Pinky and who else was it that mentioned data science for a switch? My question to both of you is, why do you want to switch to data science? I'm gonna be on video. Let me know if I shouldn't be. So my question to you guys, why do you want to actually switch to data science? Money, obviously. Right, so there is no doubt that data science is in fact a great career choice across the world. In fact, if you can Google this, just check India's LinkedIn report. There is a yearly report that LinkedIn pulls out, and they talk about what are the jobs to stay. And data science and web development are two of the most stable careers that one can look ahead of us. That's right, it is a growing industry. So how many are we at now? We're at 63. So I think we're plateauing. So, all right. We've quickly covered the whys of data science in terms of money. There is a lot of money. Paisa hai. There is no doubt about that. So getting into that is one reason. But it's not just that. There's also a learning curve which once you follow and grow with, you actually land on an extremely stable and interesting job experience, because this is not a BPO job. This is not a simple job that can be automated. In fact, you're automating. So this is one of those jobs, right? So I don't know how many of you know this, but when Henry Ford's assembly lines were deployed and cars were manufactured, a lot of jobs were lost. And in fact, if you want to look up this article of Isaac Asimov, तो बहुत सारे jobs खोए गए, but बहुत सारे jobs नए नए खुले. So data science is that career which is opening up in light of a lot of other jobs that are being automated away. So there is that. There is much more about data science that our instructor Varun Rao will tell you about, and I will introduce you to him very shortly. But a quick hygiene: if you people are facing any audio issues at any point of time, simply reconnect. And if the issue still persists, then maybe consider switching to a different internet connection or device. Okay. Just to be sure, how clearly can you guys hear me on a 1 to 10? Am I audible? A yes? 11. That's great. That's great. That's wonderful. Seeing a 10 on 10 has made me feel extremely great. And in fact, without further ado, let me tell you a quick thing about Varun Rao. He's one of the most creative guys that I've seen. He does data science, he does coding, and he does rapping. So we have a multi-dimensional guy giving you a masterclass on a multi-dimensional um, field of careers. In fact, that's what I find data science to be. So over to you, data science whiz Varun Rao.
Thank you, Dheer. Am I audible, everyone? Perfect. Okay. So without going time, let's go forward. I see, Sean, you have a query. Do you want to type about it? All right. So before I begin, would just want to understand a small, idea of your background. Again, background restricts only to your work experience and your technical exposure. So could you all just tell me if you are a fresher or if you are an experienced candidate? And if you are experienced, I would just want to know what's your experience and in which domain have you been working? Like, is it HTML or is it uh, anything else, or whatever it is, or are you a mobile application developer? Anything that I probably should be knowing about you. Okay. There's one person from data analysis. Okay, so most of them, from what I see, are freshers or people who have no exposure to Python and data science. Okay, so now that I've understood the major or the majority of you people, may I also know how many of you people have idea or exposure to machine learning or Python? Okay, I see three people. Okay, that's four, five. Okay, so good, good. So again, correct me if I'm wrong. I see from what I notice, you have an idea of what Python is, but probably data science is the void that needs to be filled in for most of you people. And I believe that you know Python at a superficial level. Cool. All right. Should not be a problem. So we'll start things right from the scratch. Let us begin with understanding what data science is. I'll quickly talk about what data science is, what is the trend around it, and why is data science becoming so concrete of late, and how would data science contribute to your growth. I'll give you a quick idea of each of these, not spanning more than 2 to 3 minutes each, and then we'll move on to understanding the technical side of data science, and then we'll quickly begin with the topic. But before I go any forward, I would want all of you to have this as a disclaimer That is, the topic that we would be talking on, or the code that we would be looking at, is just for you to have an understanding of what data science actually looks and feels like. I would request each and everyone not to conclude that. I mean, I want all of you not to conclude your capability looking at this code, because this code is a direct part of a machine learning leaf, right? So we are discussing something which is a bit in deep, or which is a bit in depth. So I would not want any of you to come to or jump into any conclusion about it. Okay, so this is the only disclaimer that I would want to keep, that I would want all of you to probably keep you in mind, and that I would want you to keep in mind. And notwithstanding this, uh, there is one thing that I would also want you to notice, as and when we keep walking through machine learning code. Uh, I see that most of your freshers and some people have a basic idea or exposure to Python and R, but being a trainer, I'll have to assume, if even if one person does not know, I would have to assume none of you know about it. I cannot skip that one person. So I'll keep things at a very basic level. And one thing that I wanted you to notice is Python literally talks. It's like probably you're typing something in English. Now, this does not mean that you type, open a list, and bring the output, and you don't literally type it in English. But yeah, it's more or less conversational nowadays, is what I would say, right? So yeah, now keeping all these things in mind, let us quickly go ahead and start with understanding what machine learning is. Let me just share my screen as well. Okay, I believe my screen is now visible. Perfect. Okay. So let us now start understanding the subject from the technical side of it. So how many of you said that you know what machine learning is? Or could you quickly tell me, I mean, between all those of you who know, what is the difference according to you between machine learning and data science? Uh, okay, ML is a subset of data science. I think that is like a pretty basic ground school answer. I am looking for something a bit which is more technical. The difference between them. Okay, so it is to analyze the data, insights from past data. Okay, analyzing and predicting. So analyzing and predicting insights from past data, all these are machine learning or data science. ML is where we train the data. DS is to structure the data. Okay, all right. So I see a few answers. Let me now try to give my version or my variant of it. Again, there's another disclaimer here before I go ahead or before I go further. And that is, we probably have different definitions that exist for data science, for ML. And I wouldn't hesitate in saying that almost all of them are correct. But just keeping the definitions aside for a while, it is moreover about the understanding that you have. Is it an answer that you know which you're talking about, or is it an understanding that you have about the difference of each of them? Is the point. So here, when we talk about machine learning or data science or deep learning or artificial intelligence, a lot of people call data science as a subject. Some call it as a technology. Right, I mean, that is correct, Sefa. Some call it a technology, some call it a language and whatnot. But I would call data science as a concept, because data science is not a language. Data science is definitely not a subject. So what is it? It is more of a multidisciplinary subject, or a multidisciplinary understanding which encompasses artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. or even IoT to a great extent. Please correct me, any of you, if you feel whatever I'm talking is not in parallel with your understanding. Or probably whatever I'm talking, if it is not broadening your understanding, then I want you to be vocal about it. Right? So data science, as you can see, encompasses all of these. So it is very wrong on our part to call it a language or a subject or a technology or anything. Right? It is like computer science. It's vast, it's huge. There are many things which are encompassed within data science. Now again, probably looking deeper into data science, we have artificial intelligence, which further encompasses or which further has machine learning and deep learning within it, right? So here it is very important for us to have an understanding about what each of these are and how each of these make a difference for us to uh, probably go ahead. So within data science, you have data analysis, which is the first variant. And in data analysis, the predominant job is to clean the data. It is to, does our language come under AI? It wouldn't be wrong to say yes, Pratap Kush. I'll call you Pratap. So yeah, I think you can. Languages do not make a difference, Pratap. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? So in data analysis, you clean the data, you understand the data, you explore. So in short, you exploit your data set. I mean, yeah, reinforcement is an addition of both of these. So yeah, oh sorry, reinforcement learning is an addition of both of these. So there's no, nothing different to talk about reinforced learning. Anyways, so you exploit the data. You would know everything about the data. Like again, when I say everything, it's not that you become the god of understanding the data. It's very simple. Like everything that is required for you to be able to take it further. Now, assuming you're working on a data set X, and if I would want to use it for classification, okay, just assume this is the problem. Okay, now you are a data analyst. I give it to you. Okay, now when I give this to you, your top priority job here is to be able to ensure that this data set is ready for classification. And if I give you another data set with the name Y, and I ask you to uh, I tell you that there is a problem which I need, and the problem I would be working on is regression, then you would be, and completely working on an entirely different approach in order to clean the data or information, right? So this is how, or this is the first step, or this is a job that most of the freshers get into. Right now, when I say freshers, I mean any person who has no experience, or probably just 1.5 to 2 years of experience. They work as data analysts, right? They work a lot on pre-processing of the data. So all this which we were talking about is called pre-processing, right? So yeah, this is what data analysts do. The second part is machine learning experts or deep learning engineers or deep learning experts or whatever. Machine learning is that part wherein you try to predict information based on the records that you already have, right? We don't give this a reference of time, because if you give this a reference of time that is past and future, then it becomes a time series analysis statement, or it becomes a time series analysis problem. All these are irrespective of time. You have supervised learning and you have unsupervised learning. So within supervised and unsupervised learning, we are working on that information which is independent of time. All right. So the right terminology, if you also bring in time, would be forecasting. So forecasting is different from prediction, or forecasting is entirely different from predicting. So these are probably very easily uh, confused or inappropriately used terminologies in this field of data science. But I think because all of you here are just stepping into this field of data science, or you've just started to think about it, I think it will take some time for you to absorb things and to be able to justify as to why is it only that way. All right. So then we have deep learning. Deep learning uses something called as neural networks. Neural networks are a more deeper way of working on the same concepts, which is machine learning, but they have a much complex structure in terms of the data they work on, right? And also the information expected is huge when you work on neural networks. So that ways, I think when you work on machine learning and deep learning, they differ a bit from each other. All right. And IoT is Internet of Things. Internet of Things is basically when you're trying to control a lot of things using a device or using a couple of devices. For example, smart home. So when you get into a smart home, yeah, give me a second, Pratap. So when you enter into a smart home, you have your mobile through which you can access your main door, probably your lights, your TV, everything, right? Now, all this is accessed using a mobile, and this mobile is the only authentic device or authentication source that you have. Or probably you can set up another device, probably yours and your mother's or your wife's or your brother's, or I don't know, whatever person is the person that you might want to give access to. So this is how AI, ML, DL, data analysis, data science, artificial intelligence are all interlinked. So just to answer what is deep learning once again, deep learning is almost the same as machine learning. It's just that deep learning works on things which are much more complex, be it structurally or be it statistically or analytically. Because machine learning, you have very limited usage of complex things like images, audio, video, and all. But deep learning is made to work on things like these, or is made for things like these, right? So deep learning is definitely a step above machine learning. So here you have data sets, or probably the expected outputs or the given inputs, which are much more complex as compared to machine learning. So that is an understanding of deep learning, Pratap, right? So all of you, any of you, do you have any queries with regards to understanding what machine learning, deep learning, or any of these is, before I go further? I would request you to be verbal, or else I would not have an understanding if. Okay, is this clear to everyone? I only see a couple of them. Great, lovely. Okay, so now let's go forward. I see most of them have understood what machine learning and deep learning is. Okay, now talking about the things involved in machine learning, okay, or within machine learning. Machine learning is broadly categorized or broken down into supervised and unsupervised learning, right? Now, again, within supervised, we have regression and uh, classification, right? And within unsupervised learning, we have some algorithms like k-means, we have time series analysis, we have market basket analysis, etc. Okay. Now within regression, we have linear regression, we have polynomial linear regression, etc. Likewise, within classification, we have logistic regression, which would be the topic for today. All right, now I hope now you understand why I'm giving you an understanding of all these, because you should know that whatever we are studying today is a part of machine learning, within which we have supervised learning, within which we have regression and classification, and your topic belongs to classification part of it. So now you know the address of the algorithm that you're about to study, correct? You have decision trees, you have random forest, you have KNN, you have SVM, you have naive Bayes, and there are a lot more. We don't want to keep the list exhaustive, so we'll just restrict it to some basic algorithms. Okay, so here we work on a labeled data set. Yes, KNN and SVM are also okay. KNN is K nearest neighbors, right? SVM is support vector machine. Understand, Kavya? So yeah, that's about KNN and SVM. NB is naive Bayes. It's this is an evolution of Bayesian theorem. For all those of you who were good at simple mathematics in class 10 or 11, probably you should be able to, you know, vibe with whatever I'm talking immediately. So I'll just give you another information that most of you, I wouldn't say don't know, but most of you do not have a perfect knowledge about, and that is a lot of people ask me if it is imperative for them to study a lot or if they should know the depth of mathematics and statistics. Should they buy a book on statistics and all? But I don't think all that's required. We are not here to become statisticians. We are not here to become mathematicians, or we are not here to propound new theories on mathematics, right? We have a very simple job, that is to be able to apply the right machine learning algorithm on the right data set and to be able to get the work out of it and keep going forward. So if you are able to manage yourself on these lines perfectly, then it is enough if you know only till what is required. I hope that solves queries of a lot of people here, right? So this is what we have within machine learning. Now, again, going one step deeper, would just want to know how many of you have absolutely no idea about what Python is, or how many of you are here to see what Python is or machine learning is for the first time. This goes for all of you, which is Python or machine learning. Okay, okay. What about the others? Please be a bit proactive. I almost have 60 odd participants, but I hardly see 6 responses here. It is so that I can steer the session accordingly. All right, good. Right, I think now this gives me good chunk of information. So I see that there are a lot of people who have an idea of basics of Python, but most of you do not have any idea of machine learning. Good. So I think that makes my job more effective here, because if you people already have an idea of what machine learning is, then I think, I hope you get what I'm trying to say. All right, now going forward, talking of Python, right? Now, within Python, we have three very important libraries. I'll just quickly glance through each of these, wouldn't take a lot of time. The first one is NumPy. The second one is Pandas. And the third one is Matplotlib. Okay. NumPy is NumberPython. Pandas is panel data, and Matplotlib is Matplotlib. Right now, this is used for mathematics. This is used for data manipulation. This is used for graphs or plots. Right now, these three libraries are considered to be the core of Python. Right. I mean, even very complex machine learning and deep learning libraries are completely dependent on these basic libraries. They are structured in a way wherein they derive information out of these libraries. So these libraries play a very pivotal role in you know the build up or in existence of machine learning on the whole. I wouldn't mind going to the extent of saying that a lot of existence of machine learning is dependent on these libraries. That's the importance they have. For all those of you who have an idea of machine learning or who have some idea of Python, is there anyone who does not probably agree with me? If yes, then please let me know about it. All right. So now, having said such a heavy statement, we also have other libraries which are very close to doing the same job or probably are better at it. But again, they are also, or rather, they also evolve out of these libraries only. We have Panel, which is an off-late library, which is very useful for solving machine learning algorithms. Then we have Seaborn. Seaborn is an advancement over Matplotlib, and Seaborn has some real cool plotting capabilities, right? So that's a bit about some libraries which have evolved later, but couldn't replace these three libraries as such. All right. So that's the importance they have. Now, these are the libraries that we would be using every now and then, or I would say these are the three libraries that you just close your eyes and you download them, even without thinking, because you download or you install or you use them, whatever word you feel is appropriate. Without these three libraries, it would be almost impossible for us to work on an actual real-time project. Probably to play around and all is okay, but if you're looking forward to work on a real-time project, then it might actually become a big challenge for us to be able to do so. Right? So I hope we all are at a parallel till here. Now, taking things forward from here, when we talk of like, oh, sure, not a problem. I mean, see, this course is open for everyone who's new to Python, or who's new to ML, or who is new to data science, or who's new to computer programming on the whole, right? Now, whom would this suit for? It would only suit those people who are prepared to learn, right? Now, what is the expectation out of a candidate who wants to learn data science? That is, you are a candidate who is above average in understanding statistics. See, this is absolutely wrong to say that zero maths is required. I wouldn't say that. But again, it would be too much to say that you need to know extremes of mathematics. Both of them are a lie. So yeah, you need to have decent mathematical knowledge, and I think you should have good inclination to learn coding, right? So as long as you're good with these, I don't really see anyone, uh, you know, joining or anyone from any background being a problem, because very honestly, I have had candidates or trainees who have come from fields which are as diverse as uh, biomedical or probably anthropological sciences. So yeah, they are completely from arts. They have nothing to do with coding or mathematics or anything even relative. Even people like these have been able to learn data science to, again, to whatever or wherever they want, and they've been able to get a job or bag a job too. So yeah, I don't think your background or your experience should really matter or make a difference in whatever we're doing right now. All right. So yeah, having said this, now taking things forward from here, uh, whenever so why I asked you not to take things very seriously and not to judge yourself as a disclaimer was I want you to understand that this course that we are looking on, or this course that we're talking about, it has things like statistics with which we'll begin. We will walk forward into Python, then we'll take a look at SQL, then we have machine learning, and then we have deep learning. So we're skipping all of these and we're directly coming on into machine learning and not talking about the basics, directly going into the classification part and understanding one random algorithm, which is logistic regression, right? So if you're really trying to judge yourself because of the fact that you've missed all these and you're directly, talking about it, then I think that will be a very fatal thing to do, which is the reason why I was asking any of you not to judge yourself. Okay. So now, without wasting any time and keeping all the theory aside that we've been talking all about, we'll now quickly move forward into the coding aspect of it. So here, if you can see, I have everything open on my screen, right? Uh, Let us begin with an understanding of what this interface is. Okay, so to all those of you who are absolute freshers, guys, this tool that I'm using here is Anaconda Navigator. You will just have to go to Google and just type in download Anaconda Navigator, and I think you should be able to have it. Okay, you can just download this, and here you have different versions. And if it is a Mac or if it is Windows 64, 32-bit, and you can download whatever is your version or your variant of it. Okay, so we are currently working on Python 3.8. Now, again, coming back to the screen. So as you can see, I am importing pandas. Did I not tell you? Pandas is a very, very important library. I mean, again, pandas, NumPy, and Matplotlib, right? And pandas is to read the data set. So I would be reading my data set, and I would be, and in order to read my data set, I would be using read underscore CSV. Again, there are a lot of platforms which we could use, Aman, but this platform is like a specialist in Python. It has the probably the most lightest UI, so your system would be able to breathe easily, right? Otherwise, there are a lot of applications like VS Code. You have Eclipse, you have uh, Spider. There are a lot of tools, but as I said, this is one of the most lightest tool. So yeah, Atom, yeah. So you're free to choose whatever tool you may want to use. That is not a restriction from my side. Right. So now going forward, I'm making a copy of my dataset. We generally always make a copy of your dataset, and we make this as a copy to ensure that, or we make a copy of this to ensure or to, I mean, just in case if you're, if you change the, the data on a real time by mistake, and if you're not able to recover it, then trust me, your data is lost, which is the reason why it is always better to make a copy of it and then go forward. So I would be removing columns like ID. Okay, I have a column ID, so I've removed my column ID. And if you can see, there are a lot of other operations which I've, put silent on, or I've used the comment here. For example, show maximum columns, or probably drop ID with axis 1. And see, here you go, the length of my reason for absence or unique values of absence. I've dropped all of these. I mean, I've marked them in comment, and I'm simply reading from where to get the data set. You have a lot of data sets available in Google. You just have to type download whatever data set you want, and trust me, even if you want absenteeism data, let me just see if this is available in Google. I think you should be able to download it. I'll somehow be providing you with it, but still, uh, absenteeism data CSV. I think if you do that, you should have a lot of, see here you go, absenteeism data set, right? I mean, you just name it, you would have it. Any website, I mean, any data set you see today on Google or you see today on public domain is available on Google. Trust me. I mean, that is the extent of availability. So you don't have to get scared about finding the data set. All right. So here I am using my or rather I'm viewing my algorithm or my data set. So as you can see, I have reason for absence. There are almost up to 26 or 27 reasons that you have. You have transport expense, distance to work, education, children, pets, all things like these to see why a person is absent. There is no column for marriage here. I'm not sure why, but okay. All other columns have been included. Okay, now going forward, here I have pd dot get dummies. Okay, and I'm using column. Okay. Now why do we need get dummies, or what is the use of get dummies? If you can see, I have reason for absence here, correct? And this reason for absence that I have, uh, one second. Yeah, there are 28 reasons, and each of these columns has uh, to be marked with 0 or 1. Okay, so if you can see here in the first row, I have my reason number to be 26. So all other columns have been marked as 0 and this as 1. My row number 2 has 1 somewhere else, which is the reason why you are able to see it lies between 10 to 18. Likewise, my row number 2 has 1 on 23. So this is how you work on, or you understand, and you can probably compare this. See, 26, 0, 23. So they are now being converted into numerical column, which is the reason why I have values or I have things like get dummies. Okay. Again, you do not have to understand things line by line. You can probably take your time to understand. It is just so that you know that this is how we work on data science, or this is how we work on a project which is related to data science. Okay, so why do we have to convert numerical data? Here, if you can see, I have 0, 1, 28, I don't know, I have what all. It is computationally not possible for a system to calculate 28 options, or options which are up to, I don't know how many options you have, correct? So get dummies would convert all of these, how do I say? It would convert all of these numbers into zeros and ones. And because zeros and ones is probably the most easiest way for a computer or for an algorithm to be able to read data, it would be very easy uh, for us to, you know, be able to compute on each of these. Okay, so that is get dummy. So here, if you can see, you have all the values which are scaled from 0 to, or probably 1 to 28. Okay, and here you have all the rows. They're all different numbers, only column wise. But if you can see, do you have any other number in the rows except for zeros and ones? No, right? So that is what get dummies does. So do you understand now, Kavya? Now, again, as I said, it would require a lot of other backup or understanding for us to be able to reach here. So please don't go too deep into every line of code, right? That would only ensure that you get confused further. So yeah. So now what I'm doing is, because I have 28 reasons and it's not something which is small, I'm trying to group reasons 1 to 14 into reason type 1, 15 to 17 into reason type 2, type 3, and type 4. So everything after 22 is type 4. Everything from 1 to 14 is type 1. So I'm trying to group them. And why am I trying to do this? Because it will make it less disturbing, or it will make it more easier for us to understand. Do you all have an understanding? Everyone, please respond. Am I going clear? Thank you, Dhanashri. Good, great. Okay, thank you, everyone. So now what I'm doing is, if you people remember, the name of my data set was DF, or is DF, correct? So now that I have converted these values into reason 1, 2, 3, 4, I would now have to concatenate my DF with reason type 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I hope you all know what concatenate is. Concatenate simply means join. Okay, so I'm trying to join all these values to my data set. Now, because we have concatenated values and regional values also, I would, in my next step, probably remove the column which is not necessary. Okay, so here if you can see, now I have only those columns which I require, and the others have been dropped. All right, and all this has been stored within column underscore names, and I'm checking the head. Head would give you an information, or it would pull the record of top 5 values. Yes, Heidi, concat is almost the same as cbind. All right, so yeah, this is what I would be doing here in my uh, head. When I do head, I would be able to check the top 5 values, and that's exactly what I'm able to see. Okay, going forward, I'm now reordering my values within the table, and in order to do that, there is not huge operation that you have to do, or there's no library that you have to instantiate. It's very easy. You'll just have to, for all obvious reasons, change the name of the variable and give in the values. As simple as that. All right. So now I have successfully removed the columns which I do not need. I have also, kind of reordered them as per the requirement. I have converted my values into Boolean values. So yeah, I'm going pretty steady and step by step till now. Are all of you at parallel with whatever I am trying to express, or do any of you have any confusion? Okay, thank you, Tarek. What about the others? Great. Okay. See, I'm trying to ask everyone again and again, so that, or because of the fact that there is a lot of people who are freshers here, and there is a lot of them who are, probably, doing this for the first time. Yeah, all these are parts of data cleaning. And if you're not understanding, why are you people not stopping me when you have not understood? I would request you to let me know the moment you don't understand, because I think we have spent almost an hour till now, or probably up to 45 minutes. And after 45 minutes, if you say I've not understood, it would not be easy for me to be able to start things right from the beginning, right? So again, I'll just give you a quick walkthrough of what I have explained till now, just so that all of you can understand. So please focus, everyone. Again, once again, I have read the data set, okay, dropped unnecessary columns at the beginning. Then I have converted my reason for absence column into zeros and ones. Okay. After I have converted them into zeros and ones, I am just checking them, and then, because I have 28 values, I am converting these 28 values into 4 groups. Okay. After having converted them into 4 groups, I see, because I'm converting them, they are not a part of the data set. I'll have to include them back or push them back into the data. Correct? So I'm pushing them back into the data, which is df again. And now if you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 also. These are the columns. Okay. But because this is not how we have named them, I would rename them and I would see them here as reason 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. Having done this, in the next step, I am trying to reorder them and place them the way I want. For all those of you who have not understood, that was a bit of refresher for you. Okay. So now that I have come up till here, I'm now creating a copy of my first saved data and I'm naming it as df underscore copy. All right. Now having done this, I'm going forward. Okay. And here I'm using df reason mod. Okay. And I'm using date. Okay. Now, what would this date do? I want the dates to be in the array. I want the dates to be arranged in this format. Guys, please do not worry about the code. Trust me, you have a lot of code available in Google, and you have different codes which have, you will come to know. I mean, you have different trainers or different developers who try to come up to the same answer in different ways. So I mean, if you just forget this code and you try searching for this on Google, right, you'll be able to see more than 6 to 7 variants of the same code. I will give you a code and I will, probably share everything to you, but I want you to focus on things which are more important. And Naveen, here I have, okay, why are you focusing on reason attribute? Okay, it's not that I'm focusing only on reason attribute. If you can see, I'll have to work on each and every attribute step by step. So I have worked on reason attribute here. Now that it is sorted, if you can see, I'm working on date attribute next here. And then I would be working on months attribute. After which I would be working on days of the week. Then I would be rearranging all of them. Then I'm working on education. I'm working on almost all the attributes wherever I feel that it is required. So this is like a step-by-step approach, Naveen, because you cannot work on all of them in one go. You work on them by parts. If I have been able to explain myself, does that make anything clear to you, Naveen? Lovely. Okay. Right, so now I'm arranging my dates. So if you can see, I am trying to give it a format that is the date, month, and year, and it should be, with a format of slash. Okay, how was it earlier? See, this is how it was earlier. So I've now changed the format to something like this. Okay, because this is how I want it. Now that it has been changed, I'm trying to extract the month from it. Okay, so if you can see, do we have a column here which talks about only the month in specific? If you can see, you have date in general, you have absenteeism, time in hours, children, pet education, so nothing to talk about month, right? Now let me go forward, and if you can see, you have month value and you have day of the week. So which day of the week is it? Is it day 1, day 2, day 3, day 7? Which day? Okay. So that is what we are trying to come up in these both columns here. So in order to do that, I'm coming up with a small, uh, value, completely empty set. After which I'm passing the date, uh, giving it an integer and passing the month into it. So automatically within my date field, the month would be getting into it and getting stored in the value of I. After which I'm populating my month value. Okay. So this is how I have my month value, which is getting populated. Okay. So now I have that on the records. Going forward, I have day of the week also that has been fine tuned exactly like that. Then in my next step, so are you all understanding how we are going step by step in understanding uh, or I wouldn't say understanding, in unfolding or in unwinding or in opening up of the data set. You're just trying to explore it as much as you can. You're trying to ensure that it is free of any disturbances, it's free of any noise, and it is as simple as possible to understand. Okay, now that I have actually taken the value required, I'm dropping my date column. I don't need the date anymore. It's not required for me in this problem statement. Okay, so both of these are not required. Okay, I wouldn't say both of these, but date as of now is not required. Next, I would be moving on further, making another copy. And whenever you want to make a copy, there's only one small keyword, which is copy. You just have to make this and or type this, and the moment you type this, you're done. If you make a copy of wherever you're working on, and this copy will be stored within your um, Jupyter notebook or within your Anaconda Navigator. Okay, so now I am going forward and checking or mapping values of education. Okay, there are again different tiers of education, and I'm mapping those values. Okay, so where do we have education? So here, if you can see, I have education here, and if it is 1, it will be 0, and if it is 2, 3, or anything greater than 1, it is changed to 1. So here you can probably write down, or you can probably think of 1 as an undergraduate, and 2, 3, 4 as people who have different, or people who have different masters, or people who have uh, you know deeper insights to it. Or again, when I say deeper insights, probably they have masters, or probably they are PhDs, or probably they are not just graduates. Okay, so I'm kind of passing undergraduates into one, and people who are graduates and above into uh, 2, 3, and 4. And 2, 3, and 4 will be marked as 1, and 1 will be marked as 0. Okay, and then here, if you can see, again my education is now sorted into 0 and 1, right? Going forward, I would be making a copy of this once again. Okay, and then checking my head. So this, or these are the steps that I would follow in order to clean my data as a part of pre-processing. And I see comments like, I have not understood the coding, and the coding is very confusing and all. Pratap, I see that you are a fresher, or probably again, this is for all those of you who have not understood, or who are trying real hard to understand the coding. Guys, you'll get the code, you'll get the video too probably, but I would request you again and again not to understand or not to run behind the code, because it will take some time for you to be able to digest the code, and to be able to understand or open it up thoroughly. Because being a fresher, or if a person who is talking about machine learning for the first time, if you are really able to understand everything in this demo just because I explain things a bit elaborately, then what are people with 3 years and 4 years of experience, or 5 years of experience in machine learning doing, right or wrong? So I would only ask of, I mean, all that I would ask of you is some patience, and some time. I'll tell you why. Let me just probably walk you through the course curriculum that we have, and I think you should be able to have a sound understanding of what data science is all about. So here, if you can see, when we talk of data science, I think Dheer, whom you all spoke to right at the beginning, is the best person to talk about it. So here within career programs, if you can see this 6-month online course that you have, it has almost all of these subjects which we are not talking about at all. That you're missing all of these, and you're directly jumping into a topic of classification, which you should be learning, or which you would be knowing after 12 weeks, or after 8 to 10 weeks ideally, right? So yeah, that is why I would want you to breathe a bit as far as understanding the code in the first instant is concerned. But notwithstanding that, Dheer, do I have you available on the panel? Am I
All
audible?
right. Hi. Yeah,
Yeah. Could you please give them a walkthrough, or give them an understanding about, how is it that we go about, what are the kind of projects, or, everything that so that they
sure,
understand,
sure,
so they don't
sure.
feel uncomfortable about the fact that, they're suddenly learning machine learning, or they're being exposed to something which is, next. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do this.
I'll probably stop sharing my screen. You may want to do that, to
That's
start.
fine. That's fine. Actually, maybe keep that on. Um, if that's okay. Uh, I want to tell you guys about the data science career program that GreyCampus has. I will give you a few details right now and a few more exciting details at the end of the masterclass. But as Varun was point that a lot of things in this curriculum that are being touched upon in this specific masterclass actually come during the subsequent weeks, perhaps a month later. Now, the reason why that is the case is that in the masterclass, the focus is for you to understand at a glance and in a hands on fashion what machine learning is like. But that is clearly not enough to have a career in it. Is that correct? Now, I will have a very simple poll or a form, Google form at the end of the masterclass. But very quickly, how many of you want a job in data science? Simple question, yes or no? Do you want a job in data science? Do you want to learn data science just for the heck of it because data science, or do you want a career in it? You want to make a career out of it? The answer seems to be unanimously yes. If the answer is no, then you happen to be one of the rare people who want to do a PhD in data science. Not to be condescending, but the truth of the matter is that data science is an extremely application oriented field. And as Varun was saying, it's multidisciplinarian. So wherever you find big data in terms of, say, IoT or big corporations like Amazon, Facebook, Google, there is so much data that needs to be made meaning out of. Very simply put, data science is the way or method by which you make sense out of data, right? And you will be paid to make sense out of data. Now, if you want to make a career out of that, there is quite a few things that you need to know. And what you're looking at the screen right now is an extremely well crafted curriculum that has been made by a few data scientists, all of who have experience in the real world. So this curriculum that you're seeing, in the first 2 weeks, you have mathematics, right? And it's the perfect amount. You don't want to do too much math because it will be of no use. And you don't want to do less so that you have problems later on. Then there is 3 to 6 weeks, you have basics of Python. Now, understand that certain people already know programming, right? We heard earlier that some of you had some experience. Now, that means that some of you will grasp Python quickly. If you know Java, you probably know what functions are. You will catch it quickly. That's fine. But what about the people who don't? Which is why we have a little amount of buffer and we have an extremely good team of support. Now, maybe we can scroll up a bit, uh, just a little bit, Varun. So if we go up, I would like to probably, let me see, science. Let me do this. Let's hope this works. Okay. Is my screen visible, guys? Okay. Data Science Career Program, greycampus.com/data science program. All you have to do is go to greycampus.com. Okay. I'll make this really quick because um, the masterclass needs to resume. But very quickly, if you come to the data science program, which you can access from all programs, data science and data science career program, this is a 6-month program. And surprise, surprise, Varun is also going to be your instructor there. And this is a program that actually guarantees or comes with a guarantee to get you placed. That's right. We are actually going to ensure that we will place you. And there is quite a few reasons why we are so confident. And this is not a scam. Now, I will tell you very quickly. First, it's the curriculum. We are confident that the curriculum that we have is job oriented, and that everything that you learn here is something that will translate into your workplace and you will use this day in, day out. Okay, that's number one. The second thing is we have career services, which includes mentorship. There will be mentors with experience who will guide you. Now, again, I was asking you guys a few questions about where you come from. So certain people have a computer background, certain other people are commerce. So different profiles will have different strategies, right? So our mentors will help you understand what steps to take, what kind of a profile to build, by the way. So there's profile building and resume forwarding. So these are extremely crucial steps to make you not just a person who understands data science, but also ensure that the person interviewing you understands that you know data science. कि हाँ इसको job देने का है. I was seeing earlier that there was somebody talking about an interviewer. Is there any place for a trainer in your company? We'll get to that later. Maybe ping support at greycampus.com. But I was seeing a participant ask a question about interviewers not talking about project work. They do. From job to job, interviewers may ask you about your project work and you will have to explain what you have done. So we ensure that we uh, help you work on project. There are capstone projects that you will have to work on, which will cover everything that you've learned in your curriculum, from basics of math to programming to algorithms. वो सब एक capstone project में combine होके use होगा. I understand that there are a lot of languages that we have, but let's just work with Hindi. I might switch in between. Now, the other thing is we actually ensure that we place you, and it's only on that basis that we will take our majority of payment. What does that mean? We are having a payment option by way of income share agreement. Now, I will tell you a bit more about this, but for the more curious, please just go to greycampus.datascience program. Now, anybody has any questions, please make a note of it. I will take them at the end of this program. Also, if you are to click apply, you will just have to give your details and write a simple test on aptitude and see if you're eligible. But more on that later. Back to you, Varun.
Sure. Thank you, Dheer. I guess it's been a while. So if there's nothing else that you want to talk, Dheer, should we give them a break?
Yeah, sure. And anybody who is staying back, we're having a 5-minute break. It's 7:41 right now, so be back by 7:45 or 7:46, and we can resume. Any questions? In fact, sir, is the project covered or end to end? Yes, they are. They are. Weren't you wanting to say something?
No, nothing as of now, Dheer. I think let them go for a 10-minute breather. Come back by 7:50, and I think we're good to go.
Okay, cool. 7:50 it is. 7:50 it is, guys.
Don't worry, everyone. Please take a breather. Come back in 10 minutes, and I think we'll talk about it. I'm right here, and I'll answer all your queries. And probably at the end of the session, I'll leave you to Dheer, or I leave Dheer to you, and probably you can get solved or get rid of all queries that you have. So no worries on that.
Yeah. And Varun, if you want to address any of these questions coming our way right now, that is perfectly fine. For example, Kaggle istamal hoga. Yes, I know this, and maybe Varun can tell more. But yes, Kaggle will be used. And after 6 months, what if we don't get a job? Then we will not be taking the remaining part of the tuition fee from you. So yeah, again, dropping the link here. It's as clear. We are investing in you. We want dedicated students to come, go to apply, and one is asking me to take a chill. I'm really passionate about this program, guys, but really, we are going to take a best approach basis here. So हम हमारी तरफ से पूरा करेंगे आपको जॉब दिलवाने के लिए. नई जॉब लगी तो बाकी का फीस नहीं मिलेंगे. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but really, if you guys are interested, I'll tell you a few things more. This program, we actually made it by looking at some of the ways US programs were running. And looking at how US was running their programs, we decided that we'll create something like that in India. Now, there might be a lot of names that you're aware of in the Indian uh, education background, but what we're doing is we want to ensure that our curriculum speaks for itself. That means that we're not going to promise you a program that will make you job ready. We will actually get you placed. Okay. Now, somebody was asking, that there's another point I want to make. This is not just any placement. We are actually going to land you jobs between 5 lakh per annum to 25 lakhs per annum. So that is another thing. I'll tell you very quickly. When you apply, right? Again, putting this link here, GreyCampus /Data Science program. If you click apply, you will have to give your details, right? उसके बाद एक aptitude test लेना पड़ेगा, which is not tough or anything. We will really just be checking whether you can be a part of the program and if you have the minimum capability to follow the instructor. बस उतना ही है. And nowadays, okay, Kaveen is asking a very interesting question. Ki 15 to 20K, how come 5L per annum? Two reasons. I'll tell you very honestly. One thing is that we truly believe that curriculums like this are actually not what is taught in graduate programs. Our education system in India, apart from top IITs and NITs, there is a significant gap. Okay, ठीक है? There is a reason why all of you are here. It's because you want to do something better for your career. You want to see कहाँ ले जा सकते हैं हम अपने आप को, and you've realized कि data science is a future. Now that is great. Making that gap, crossing that bridge, if you do it successfully, on the other side of this bridge lies equally good opportunities for you, because data science is in demand. Okay, it's not just any software job, right? At the end of the day, you're not just sitting let's say, give me a software profile that gives you 15 to 20K. Give me any profile, 15 to 20K. Mein. How much innovation and how much complexity is in that task? Chances are that that kind of work will get taken away within 5 to 10 years. Automated ho jayega. Okay. So coming back to Kaveen's skepticism, ठीक है, आप लोग को लग रहा है कि ये क्या मजाक है? नहीं, मजाक नहीं है. This curriculum that we have taken is by looking very closely at the kind of education that is imparted in America. America mein, there is a trend, okay, that not everybody there needs to be a graduate to get jobs. I don't know how many of you know this. How many of you know this? That you do not have to be a graduate to get jobs in America. A yes? Can I hear something? That's true. There are so many boot camps that you can just follow up, and you can then go to a job, a company, and on the basis of that, you can crack the interview and get it. So, हमारा एजुकेशन सिस्टम ऐसा है कि ग्रेजुएशन चाहिए ही चाहिए. All right. So that is also another reason why we also require students who have graduated or will graduate. But it's not. It's a necessary condition, but it's not sufficient. ठीक है. Anyway, it seems like a lot of us have gone to for a break. So I will save my breath and I will tell you more about this in a while. Can we use this data science in any stream of engineering like yes, mechanical, electrical, civil, anything. Anything you think of practically. Mechanical may, for example, you can use data science to map. Okay, so in mechanics, for example, if you have gyroscopes that are used to equalize, say, earthquakes, right? Now, I'm just giving you an example, right? So if you take a geological plus mechanical kind of a background, you can use data science to understand the kind of movements that the gyroscope is making and predict whether the building underneath which it is can withstand more forces. So earthquakes ke time mein it can be used. Meteorology, mein. It's not a clear example, but it's also used in robotics, right? So that's a very clear example. But sir, we are graduated by have 50% of marks. Is that okay to take the program? If you don't have backlogs, you are qualified to apply for the test and get interviewed. So don't worry. Just go ahead and take slash वो apply है ना, apply का button click कर लो और आगे देखा जाएगा. I mean to develop the designing. So I don't follow what you're saying, Krishna. You might want to rephrase what you're saying. So again, how many of you are here? Can we just hear a quick yes? Are you guys back from your break, or were you guys always here? Jo bhi ho so ho. Can we get a yes? Okay. Okay. Can we use this data science in any stream like this? I mean to develop software. Abhi bhi nahi samajh mein aaya, Krishna. Are you talking about software development using data science? No, I don't think data science is a software development as such. No, that's a different thing. Okay, so we've got a few yeses, but not enough. Where is the crowd? 42 people. Come on, guys, where are you? I can't have Varun teaching just 10 people. 42 people. If your eyes are open, if you can hear me, put okay, no more yeses. Put your country in chat. Okay, okay, okay. India, 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 Philippines. Okay, it's good. All right. Now, one thing I do want to say, this job guarantee that we're talking about, the placement that we're talking about, between 5 lakhs to 25 lakhs per annum rupees, that is unfortunately just for India. We are still broaching and looking into what can be done at an international scale, but we thought that we would start first grassroots here at India. So to everyone who is from India, I want you to do a single thing for me today. Just go and take a look at the program, click on the orange button called apply. Do not worry, you will not lose your bank balance. All you will have to do is give your details and take a test. That's it. And we will come back to you. What are the possible companies for placement? Good question. Go to the page and scroll a little bit, and you will see a few of the companies that we've put where we have placed people before. That's a very good question. we are an old hand. Grey Campus is in pretty old hand, so we have a lot of companies that we've placed people in. So yeah. So I don't want to give a small number, but let me just tell you: there's Google, there's Amazon, there's Intel, there's Microsoft, there's Twitter, there is, I guess, there's more. So please don't worry. Okay, so I may have missed a couple of questions, but please send them my way again at the end of the masterclass, because I want you guys to get back. And Varun's notified me that he's back as well. So cool. Back to you, Varun.
Right. Thank you, Jeet. All right, guys. We'll now go forward. Probably, I think it's time we break for technical discussions once again, and we'll get back to it. Right. So let me just share my screen. So now that we know as to where we have saved the data got saved into df underscore preprocess, correct? So after having saving everything into this, I am now, okay, now that your data is free from any sorts of unwanted disturbance like outliers or probably anything of that sort, because you don't have any missing values, you clean the information, you probably applied the required values to it. Now that all this uh, fancy stuff is done, let us go into the actual part of it, wherein we are trying to apply a machine learning algorithm to your data set. Now, in order to do that, same steps. First things first, I'll be using pandas, I'll be using NumPy, uh, and after having used these, the next thing that I would be doing is I would be using my preprocessed data. So now if you can see, the name of this data set is in itself df underscore preprocess, right? So what does this mean? This directly means that the data which I have saved there, right, after cleaning is the data which I'm using here, right? So as a junior data scientist or probably as a data analyst, and again, this is only for those of you who are freshers, not for all. Yeah, this is exactly what you would be doing. Now, again, this is what you would be doing predominantly. I wouldn't say that this is your whole and sole responsibility, but this would be your predominant job if in case you get hired as a data analyst. All right. Okay. So now taking things forward from here, I am taking the head. Head is the list of my first 5 values, but if in case you may want to check for any other values explicitly, then within the brackets you may give the number that you are looking for, right? So I typed in, if I type in 10 here, then you would see that I would be having 10 values in my output. By default, you would be having 5. Okay, so now what I'm doing is we have a column absenteeism in hours, correct? I have 4, 2, 1, 0. So I have different values. So now I would want to check what is the median. Do you all understand the meaning of the word median? This is a very school uh, related terminology. And all those of you who know about it, or even if you don't know about it, I would request you to be completely open and honest about it and tell me what is your understanding on median as of now. Do people know about it or you don't? I have only one answer. And Vishal, that's not the question that I asked for. Okay. Yes. Finally, I have one answer from one person. Half the values are less than 50%. Okay. Median is the middle value. Okay. Middle value. All right. So yeah, now that most of you people know what we're doing here, I'm using the median. Okay, so after I use the median would give me, I wouldn't call it the average, but if I have values from 1 to 5, okay, and if I notice that almost all values are ranging between 3, okay, almost all. So my system would give me an output of 3. So here, as you can see, between 1 to 4, people who are highly absent have a duration of 3 hours, which is the reason why it is the median. Cool. Now that this part has been understood, if you can see, what I'm trying to do here is I am trying to kind of pass an information, that is wherever the duration is greater than the median, it should be 1. The other should be 0. So if a person is taking absent for, or if a person is on absent for more than 3 hours of time, then that person would be taken in the records of excessive absenteeism. And if it is 0, then it's all cool. Have you understood what we're doing, everyone? I hope things are slowly unfolding and you're slowly able to see the larger picture. I need your responses now. Guys, please don't escape. I really don't want to see anyone escaping from giving me an answer. Okay, what about people except for Dhanashri and Chaitanya? Are the things slowly getting clear to you? Are you able to understand the larger picture? What is it that we are getting to? How is it that we are getting to? Right? Do you all find this interesting? Are you all finding this interesting, or do you find this absolutely boring and zero information returning, or how do you people find this? Good. Thank you. I think at least one person saying that makes a lot of difference to me as a trainer, so I'll go forward. Okay, that's a couple. Okay, so I am trying to push all those values which have a greater value, which have a value greater than 3 into 1, and values lesser than 3 into 0. Simple. And it's now arranged here in targets. I have all my values arranged in zeros and ones only. Only. Okay. Then again, in my next step, I'm going back to pre-processed data and I'm passing excessive absenteeism as targets. So we all know that when you're working on these kind of algorithms, you have dependent and independent values, and you would be trying to calculate your uh, your dependent value based on your independent value. Now, just to give you a small understanding of dependent and independent values, we all know that as you keep aging, your weight increases. It's not that your weight increases even if you don't age, right? So here, weight is dependent on your age and height, correct? So because weight is dependent on these two features, weight would be on your y-axis. And because the other two are independent features, they would be on your x-axis. So this is how we place, or this is how we work with dependent and independent features. All of you, are you with me? Guys, girls, everyone, please let me know. Okay, so I'm going forward from where we have stopped, right? So I have my excessive absenteeism as target. Going forward, I'm again just checking the head. So this is the final set of values that you have before you know, finally plan to apply any algorithm to it. So this is how I want my data set to be seen, or this is how I want it to be before I apply any algorithm to it. Okay. So now what I would be doing is I would be checking my zeros is to ones. I would just want to check the balance of zeros is to ones, and I see that zeros and ones are in a ratio of 45%. So yes, there is no huge biasing that's available in your data. If it would have been 20 and 80, or if it would have been something like that, in that case, your data can be called as severely biased. And there is a different approach or an operation that we would have done if that would have been the case. But again, here, luckily, that's not the case. All right. So now I would again go forward. And here, I'm dropping another couple of, uh, what do I say? I'm dropping another couple of columns which are not required to me. That is daily workload average, distance to work and all. I don't need them. Okay. Again, after I drop them here, if you can see, these are the final set of columns that I'm remaining with. Now, these may be in discussion with your client or manager, or these may be based on your decision also. But it's just that you'll have to uh, kind of be at par or be online with whatever is the requirement. And just remember, the more the columns or the more the variables, the more you're loading up your data set, or the more you're loading up your algorithm rather than calling it a data set. Okay, so we try to drop, remove, or kind of eliminate any kind of columns which are not necessary for us. Is it all understood till here? Okay, so I'm assuming that it's a yes. Right, Kavin, I think that's a correct understanding. Okay, so can we go forward now from here again? Okay, I see a lot of yeses, and then I think without wasting time, I quickly should. So this is my values. Okay, so now I am trying to check the inputs for regression. So I have my data with targets, that is the shape. Okay, and then here I am checking. We have 700 rows and 12 columns. It is something that you can see here. After this, I'm taking data with targets, and I am trying to uh, split the information into all what I need in my X and all what I don't need. So all rows and all columns till my 14th would fall into data target with log. Okay, so okay, I'm just checking. I'm not passing this into any variable, and I'm just checking this here. So yeah, if you can see, the last column is removed. So here I don't have my last column anymore. There is no excessive absenteeism. Do you see? So now all these would be in my X and the other would be in my Y. And why is that in my Y? Because here because this is logistic regression, right? Because this is classification, we would want binary values to be on dependent side. And that's exactly what we have done here. After which I'll have to standardize my values. Now, if you can see, your data has a lot of information, something right from 0, 1 to 225 to again 25. So it has values which are in zeros, tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on. Correct? So in order to uh, standardize the input, we have standardization, which is a process that is directly available, and that is available using standard scalar, which is a part of sklearn preprocessing. All right, so that is done. Having done this, the next step I'm using is absenteeism scalar, and I'm using standard scalar again, and I'm passing this into absenteeism scalar here. I'm just defining standard scalar as an object. There's nothing huge that I'm doing. Everything clear till here? Now, in my next step, I'm transforming them and I'm fitting them to my fitting them back into my data set, or I'm fitting them back to my algorithm. Okay, so here I'm doing all that transformation and all that process. We don't have to go very deep into this. This is a bit complex and confusing. We're using definitions, we're using loops, we are using classes, we're doing a lot of things here which fall into the core basics of Python. So we'll leave that aside for a while. And then I'm checking my unscaled inputs. Do you remember we created a column named unscaled inputs? And these were the columns that we have in it, right? And then we also, here I am creating another set of uh, values, which is columns to omit, in which I'm passing my reasons and education. Only these. So now you'll understand why I'm passing them into another. So here I'm using a column to, so because I have to scale all my values, what I would be doing is I'm trying to I'm trying to separate these values from the actual ones. And I would say A minus B, okay, and scale A. So all values of A will be scaled except the ones which are available here. It's a very simple thing that we do. Okay. Walking forward, these are the ones that I'm remaining with. Okay. Again, in my next step, see, after scaling all my values now, all my values, irrespective of whatever it is, are scaled between 0 and 1, or they are scaled between -1 and 1 rather. Do you find any value which is less than -1? And probably even if you find values which are greater than 1, you would just find them in and around 1. You wouldn't find them like 10, 12, 8, 7, no values which are so huge. Just observe it. You may want to just take a look at it for a second and probably agree with me on this or give me some input on the same. I have all my eyes on chat box and I don't see anyone replying except Dhanishri, who has been consistently replying to me on all my questions. Okay, everyone. Okay, how scaling function works. Okay, so there is a there is some mathematics that goes behind it. I'll not talk about the mathematics, Priyanka, but I'll just tell you what scaling does rather. Scaling, see, now when you're working on a data set, you have values either from 0 to lakhs, correct? And we see that this value is too huge. Agree? Now, when this value is too huge, if I want to probably compute a graph, then how would my graph show values on x-axis with 0, 1, 2, and on y-axis for lakhs? Wouldn't really make sense, right? So in order to bridge this or these kind of differences, we scale the values. So when you scale the values, all the values would get converted from -1 to 1. And if there are values which are exceeding 1, then probably it's an outlier. That's how you're supposed to understand. Does that broaden your understanding on the question you asked, Priyanka? Lovely. Thank you. Okay, so now after scaling the inputs, I see that there are 700 inputs left or rows left and 11 calls. So it's all pretty much the way I want, no problems at all. Now I'm scaling, or sorry, now I'm splitting my values. Now, why do we split? Now there is this concept called as splitting. Now, after you have worked on machine learning algorithm, right? Let me use my pen. Let me just write about it first, and then we can probably talk about it. All right, so I have a data set with 100 units, okay, of which I'm passing 80 units into my train and 20 units into my test. These 80 units are the ones which have machine learning implied on, so they have become impure. These 20 units are kept the way they are. They are not touched. Have you understood? Now, why are we breaking these into things like these? It's because after my algorithm is applied to the train model, I would have to compare it, right? I would compare it against test. So test values are your actual values, right? and these become your predicted values. And the difference between predicted minus actual is called the error. And your error has to be as low as possible. Have you all understood how machine learning basically works? Can you all please respond with yes or a no? So please tell me how many of you find it intriguing to go further now that you're slowly understanding. I know there are a lot of queries you might have, but irrespective of the fact, you're still going forward, right? You're still understanding something which you have no clue about. So that's progress, right? So do you find this interesting, and do you find this that yes, this is, I will repeat the last concept. Not to worry, not to worry. I will repeat it. So I'll just repeat that first and get back to the question later once again. So I have a set of 100 values. Now, if I have 100 values, this is one set, correct? I split this set into 80 and 20. All right. Wanderer, Fakir, Kaveen, all those of you who didn't understand it earlier, I'm repeating this again for you people. If you didn't understand it again, please let me know, but I would request you to listen to it with utmost attention. Right? I am splitting this into 80 and 20, and I will name this as training model, and I will name this as testing model. Now, what I would be doing is I would train these values on machine learning, and I would keep them the same way, no changes to that. Okay. Now that I've trained these on machine learning, these values are not the same anymore, correct? So they have become impure. Now, why have they become impure? Because I have 80 values here. Okay. And now suppose I'm applying linear regression. Linear regression has a formula of y equal to mx plus c. So it would apply this formula on all of these values. So these values are not the same anymore. These values are impure, but these values, these 20 values are the same they were. So would it be wrong to call these values actual values and these values predicted? Because here I'm trying to see how my machine learning algorithm is working on these, and then I'm comparing these to my actual values. Do you all understand now? Time for your side of responses again. Good. Wanderer, Fakir, I'm waiting for your reply too. Okay, so I'll probably go forward. Right, so now I'm splitting my values. So if you can see, I have a test size of 20% and a training size of 80%. So within my training set, I'm passing 80% of my data, which means 560 values out of 700 have been passed into train. The 140 values that I have are test. So I'll now compare that against this later, not now. Now that this process is done, I'll finally apply machine learning algorithm, which is logistic regression to it. So if you can see, I'm taking sklearn using linear model as a library. Here, importing logistic regression, and I am applying logistic regression to a small variable called RNG, because obviously it wouldn't be nice to call logistic regression each and every time. The spelling itself is so huge. So I'm now passing reg.fit. So I'm fitting logistic regression through my train values. If you remember, that's exactly what we spoke, right? I'm applying it to my train values, and I'm checking the score of my train value. It has given me a score of 77%. Now I will predict these train values. Okay. And give me a second. After I predict my train values, I would again check the model output or accuracy, which now has increased to 77. Okay. After this, I would be checking my intercept values. Okay, if you can see I have different intercept values, we would require a bit of in-depth knowledge to be able to understand them as of now. And then, these are the different values we have. Now, generally, on a real-time parlance, you can import this or import this into Tableau or export this to Tableau, and then project these values on Tableau and see how your machine learning algorithm for logistic regression is performing. So these are the different values I have for different columns. So this is the coefficient and this is the odds ratio. Now you would be testing the model. And where do we test on? We test it on the test model. If you remember, that's exactly what we spoke. So I'm using my test set here, and I have a score of 75%, which is a good score. Okay, these are the different probabilities that I have. So the first value, he generally takes excessive absenteeism by 71% and less absenteeism by 28. So this guy, he takes a lot of excessive absenteeism. This guy takes an excessive absenteeism of 44. He takes an excessive absenteeism of only 12%. So this employee really works for longer hours is what I would say. I would not like to associate hours with sincerity or talent or anything, but this is how you understand uh, how a person or how long a person is contributing to an organization. Okay, and then you save the model and you can use scalar to save the model. But this part is not required right now. But I think this is how you understand about a person, and this is how we predict values. So the algorithm which we saw is logistic regression. So when we see logistic regression, you would be able to understand if a person would take excessive absenteeism, yes or no. If yes, what percentage? So here now you are able to understand. We have a total of 560 values in test and 140 in train, right? So you would be able to compare for each and every value. So this person would take it excessive absenteeism by 28, by 41, by 55, by 22. So now I have my predictions and I have my answers. So do you all understand? Everyone, I think now it's time for all of us to participate together and keep this discussion uh, a bit going. No, we don't need matplotlib here, Dhanshri, because there's nothing that I would want to visualize. This is a machine learning algorithm, moreover, right? So we don't need any visualization for this algorithm. So matplotlib is not a requirement. Everyone, have you learned or have you understood the flow? I am not at all concerned about you people understanding the coding, because as I said, or as I keep repeating, or as I kept repeating right from the beginning, it is an injustice on your part and even on my part to have an expectation that you will understand coding. Because if you all understand coding right on class one, and that to a demo session or that to a master class, then don't you think all those people with 4 and 5 years should be able to do wonders, right? It takes time to be able to have a grip on coding. But I'm moreover concerned about this part. Have you all understood how machine learning flows? How do we pass information, cleaning information, applying an algorithm, testing it on different values, importing a data set, using pandas and numpy, passing values from one to another, and checking the accuracy. These are some more important things and dynamics required, right? So yeah, that is how we work on algorithms. And by the way, all what we did here is real time. This is a project. This is a project that actual employees work on. You may want to Google about this and come to a conclusion. Okay. So yeah, that's all about what we have. That's all about the flow, and that's all about how you would be, working on machine learning. Okay. And now I would probably leave the session open to Dheer. I guess you have a lot of queries that you were asking a while back. And because I had to take over the session, I had to probably, cut it off. But now, Dheer, are you available?
Yes, yes, I am.
Uh,
Um,
all over to you.
so let's keep the panel open. We're going to be here for another 20 minutes. How about some questions from you guys? Let's hear some questions. I believe there was okay. So uh, somebody has messaged to saying, "Sir, I'm 28 years old, unemployed, graduate in economics, JDBC, experience." Okay, so for everyone, because um, yeah, just a quick question to the person who messaged me that. What do you think is the stopping factor between you getting hired and you not getting hired? Let's approach this. And this is a question for everybody. What do you think a company cares for when you when they want to know whether you're going to be a good fit for them? What is the criteria? Hello, am I audible? Varun, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, and I see responses too.
Oh yeah, they're slowly pouring in. Yeah, skills. I think that we don't have experience. Yes. So there is no straightforward answer to this. It is an amalgam of few things. The first is yes, a test of your skills. Okay, and demonstrate, demonstrable. So you should be able to have skills that you can actually demonstrate, right? So if you just put the word Java in your LinkedIn profile, that's not going to do much. It's not going to get you anywhere. But if you have a project on, say, GitHub, and that is something that you can explain, then that does amount to something. Which, by the way, brings me to again a point about the data science career program, which is that we ensure that this kind of criterias that hirers look for is met. Now, what do I mean by that? So this is answering your question, Wanderer. There are many things that hirers look for in LinkedIn profiles, and they don't look at everything. They don't have the time. But because the big organizations get referrals and lot and lots of resumes. So what are the key words? What are the key things to put in that resume so that it gets picked up? Now that is one thing, which by the way is part of our data science career program. It's not data science, but it is definitely career impacting, right? So that's there. Now another thing is skills that are demonstratable. So being able to put that in GitHub and being able to demonstrate every step, or maybe the broad uh, idea of things to, say, maybe the HR or the first round, it would be important. So again, it matters more about how you can even portray yourself. So even in interview rounds, in fact, maybe Varun, you might want to chime in. What do you think are key components or requirements for data science companies when they're recruiting? Varun? Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
what happened?
I just wanted to maybe hear from you actually, because this is a question that has come in multiple formats. So there is the learning part of data science, right? And then there is also the idea of being a job ready uh, candidate in the data science sphere that all of these people want to know. So what do companies look for in candidates? Because this would actually be an important question. If they understand an answer to, it would help them, and also something that will uh, explain to them what our career is providing, career program is providing. So
All right. So again, different companies have different requirements, which is very clearly posted in a job description when probably a company rolls out a job offer. But having said this, there is something called as a foundation, like a basic, that this is a must know if you want to apply for this job. So keeping that in mind, if it is a fresher, then the inclination would be highly towards the side of, how do I put it? It'll be very highly towards machine learning part, that is pre-processing, wherein everyone is expected to clean the data and to be able to give it, which requires statistical knowledge or information, a good understanding of Python. I wouldn't say excellent or extraordinary. My terminologies, I'm very, precise about what I mean when I say good. I mean good, a decent knowledge. But if you are an experienced candidate, irrespective of whatever it is, something which is more than three or more than two and a half, then they would definitely be expecting you to be above average in machine learning algorithms too. So yeah, that's about it.
Thanks, Warren. That was a good. That was a very enlightening answer. Um, it's not one shoe fits all. That is also why. Also, first things first. How many of you have taken a look at the career program? I remember Kaveen was asking about placements, and I want to reiterate that you we are very confident about our curriculum, okay? And we are taking a risk, and it's a risk that we're taking because a, we are confident about our curriculum, and also b, we want to make a mark and change the idea of the way e-learning or education is imparted. We want to create programs that will actually land people jobs, not just talk about it, but actually give them jobs. So हमारा ये मकसद है. Again, how many of you think that it will take 5 years for you to become a data scientist? Tell me. In fact, okay, let me put it this way. How long do you think it will take you to become a data scientist? Give me a number. Give me some numbers. And I'm not going to stop until I have at least 15 responses. Please give me a number. And that number is your expectation between you today and you becoming a data scientist. When do you become a lifelong a data scientist, Kaveen? If it's a lifelong process, then you're not going to be a data scientist until you die. 5 years. Pavani says 5 years. Aman says 2 to 3 years. Dhanashri is saying 10 to 12. I want more responses. I'll tell you why. But there's a reason why I'm asking this question. How long do you think it takes you to become a data scientist? Prithvi says 8 years. So I will tie my response back to something that Varun said earlier. And it's a very important point. This idea of becoming a perfectionist is pointless. Okay. 8 years, 10 years, 2 to 3 years, 5 years, these are all just numbers. And you're thinking of these numbers because you have some idea of what is the amount of degree of perfectionism, shall we say. Perfect होना मुश्किल है, नामुमकिन भी हो सकता है. In fact, I would probably go on to say that Kaveen is right when he says it's a never-ending process. But if that is the case, then you can never put it on your resume, no? You can never say that you're a data scientist. Or can you? If you know a data science algorithm, if you know what it does, if you're able to apply that concept, then you're doing data science. You will add more algorithms as time goes by. This was something else that Warren was saying at the beginning, right? A few basic core algorithms, and then additional things you will keep adding on to it. But data science is like a verb. You do it, okay? And if you're doing that, and if companies pay you to do that, then you're a data scientist. Maybe you're a junior data scientist, maybe you're given the data analyst ka position. It doesn't matter, but you're doing data science. Okay? So that is what this 6-month career program is all about. Okay? You have to go from your goal is to go from somebody who doesn't know anything, okay, to somebody who can get paid to do data science. As simple as that. Uske baad, step by step, with time and experience, you will keep growing. That is part and parcel of working in the industry. I hope you guys understand this. Other questions? Do you guys have any other questions? Okay, cool. And you guys were answering a couple of questions earlier, right? So if it's okay by you, can you please just take up this form and fill up these things? You need my number. I fill up this form and usme put your name, your phone number, and email address, Kaveen. Everyone, please just put this and do not leave. I have a few announcements to make. So please stay. Who is here? I feel like everybody is like asleep. I don't know what is with today's Friday. I mean, today is like a Friday that, I mean, Fridays are supposed to be like party. You stay up all night and then think about weekends and then wake up late on Sundays and Saturdays. Everybody is sleepy right now, is it? Come on, guys. Form link. I just pasted it here. I'm not sure if it reached everyone. Yes, all panels and attendees. Okay, here it is. I see. I see. Okay. And the data science career program that I was talking about, right? I'm just dropping a link in that. Acha, it says it requires a permission. Is it? Okay. Ooh, I will need some help here. Okay. Mm. All right. All right. We'll figure this out. No issues. Let's figure this out. How about this? Can you check out this? Same problem. That's an issue. Okay, I will work on that. But I want to ask you one question, guys. What is your takeaway from today's masterclass? You spent 2.5 hours with GreyCampus, with us, with our instructor. What is your takeaway? आप लोगों ने क्या सीखा है? No response. So the reason why I ask you that is because it is important to remember whatever you have learned, or at least a part of it. And the only way you remember is by recalling. Recalling is an important part of learning. So my question again to you guys is, what is your key takeaway? आप लोगों ने ये program, ये master class में से क्या सीखा है? The thing is, we can become data scientists within 6 months. That's the attitude. Now that's the spirit. That is the spirit. That is what I want to hear. You can become a data scientist within 6 months. Why can't you? If you have the skills that can translate into project work, If you have the know-how to deal with an interview, then why can't you get placed? We will ensure that you get placed. We're not taking money from you until you don't. Our fees is based on whether or not we can get you placed. We're taking that risk. So for everyone who wants to take up a career in data science, I'm not saying take up data science career program from GreyCampus, but I am requesting you guys to take a look and to just at least do the first step, which is the application process. Kaveen, you wanted to speak to me and you wanted my number. You will be able to get in touch with our career counselors. We actually work closely with career counselors as well. So our career counselors will get in touch with you, and they will guide you through what you can do next. So Dhanashri, Kaveen, everybody else, can I get a yes in chat if you're here? A final yes in chat. Prudvi, Nagateja, Aman, hi guys. Rakesh, cool. This is good to hear. We're hearing a few yeses. Do me this one thing. Go to that program and just do your application form. Fill up your details and just take the test. I'll tell you, by the way, the test is aptitude based, nothing to worry. Just go ahead, it's MCQ, okay? Don't worry too much. It's going to be 30 questions. That's it. And it's very simple. There's nothing. We just want to understand that you can follow the class. If you're dedicated, you want to become a data scientist, then your idea is not in 2 months, in 2 years, in 5 years, in 10 years. Your idea is in 6 months or in under a year, because in that much time, we will be placing you. You need to be confident that you can also get placed like that, right? So understand that, guys. Who said that? I'm going to remember that. It was a very good thing. One of the guys, he said, the thing is we can become data scientists within 6 months. अच्छा उसका नाम नहीं है. सही बोला. अच्छा, ठीक है. So guys, have you taken? Are you guys going to take the application? Are you going to take? Are you going to fill in the application? Do we have a yes? Do we have a no? Do we have any questions? Application form fill कर दोगे मेरे लिए? I don't know if they're following. Or come with the aptitude. Don't worry, Kaveen. Anybody has any questions? There will be a recording of the program available, Nico. So you might be able to follow that later on. So don't worry about that. Okay. So it seems that we have come to the end of this masterclass. I am happy that a lot of you got the most key important takeaway out of this, that becoming a data scientist is not a year, 2 year, 10-year prospect. It's simply about gaining the right skills, the perfect skills, not more, not less, and learning how to get placed. So once again, check out the program. Let us know if you have any questions. Feel free to get in touch. If you have any questions, you can get in touch at support@greycampus.com. It should allow you to apply. I do not believe that to be the case. Can anybody else from the attendees tell me if they're having any issue? Okay, that is very odd. So let me share my screen and show you what it should look like. Okay, let me go back. So if you see here, this is the program. If I click apply, it takes me, by the way, it's just GreyCampus/apply. It's very easy to remember. There you can put your name, you can put your email, you can put your password and everything. So try it out a little bit later, Rakesh. I am not sure. But Rakesh, if you're having issues, support@greycampus.com ko bata do. Share your phone number as well, so somebody can get in touch with you right away. I hope that's okay, Rakesh. Cool. With that, I believe the masterclass can draw to an end, and it was great to have you guys. I hope this was a great learning experience for you, as it was for me, because I was actually listening to these new cool concepts that Varun was talking about. And see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Have a happy weekend.